somebody would ask me what they would need to start making music, I would probably say a DAW and a microphone. You might be wondering, what do you base this claim on? Like, you're just saying this based on literally nothing. Well, today I made 3 beats using only an air fryer. You might be wondering how. Well, I basically put a microphone in front of it and started slamming it, and I turned it on and I made a couple of funny sounds. In this video I'm going to be showing you guys a couple techniques you can use to turn like random stuff into like instruments and drum kits. Alright, let's start with the first beat. So, this first beat is a lo-fi beat for which I used one sound in particular. Let's be specific here. It's the ding at the end of the timer it has. It's the most musical sound this thing can make, so it was the easiest to turn into something usable. You basically just drag it into the sampler, tune it so it's like a C, and then you play a couple chords. For the bass, I did a bit of cheating. So what I did here is basically zoom in on the buzzing noise the air fryer made and took like a tiny baby piece of the thing going up and down. So it's basically like a sine wave, but a dirty one. It's less consistent. So what I did is I picked it up, put a bunch next to each other and consolidated it into a single audio clip and put it in the sampler. This gives you like a buzzing noise, and if you tune it right, you can use this as a simple bass. Last thing I use, it's not that audible, but I think it's really interesting, is, well, basically just directly the air fryer fan. There's a bunch of stuff going on with it. You can hear all sorts of extra noises, but I don't think it matters that much. I used the auto filter to make it wobble a bit, and that's about it. Next up, I worked on the drums. For the kick, you basically just get any sound, which is short, then you pitch it down, and in this particular case, I used a plugin called Snare Buzz. What this does is it simulates a real drum kit. So you might have seen a drum kit in real life. If not, the drums are close together, which means they will resonate. When you hit one, the others will make sounds too. This piece of software specifically emulates the sound a snare makes when hitting another piece of the drum. I used it on both the snare and the kick. You might think this is cheating. I don't care, it's a free plugin. Go download it. For the rhythm, I did one of those drunk rhythm, and the hi-hat is basically me just tapping the thing with a pencil. Didn't change much about this. And because in the sample I kind of did 2 taps, but one is a bit softer, I decided to keep that in as a sort of funny little ghost note. Sounds pretty cool, and that's about it for this one. I think it sounds pretty good. At the end, I decided to take the entire beat and bounce it onto a single audio track and pitch it down by 2, so it's a bit slower and also a bit lower in pitch. It sounds nice. This is the result. I made 2 other beats to prove that this technique works for other genres as well. A video game type beat and just a very basic trap beat. Let's start with the video game beat. So what I started with was the simple synth I mentioned earlier, made out of the van noises. This time I used it in a different way though. Instead of using it as more of a pad, I played it as sort of a lead instrument. Start with an intro, then I double it with the same synth but just an octave lower as a bass, and this repeats. The beat is literally the same drums, but instead of like a little drunk lo-fi beat, I used a drum and bass type beat, and at the end I used the bass from the lo-fi track but now as a lead, and that sounds like this. So now we're at the last beat, which is the trap beat. So as you can see, kind of similar when it comes to the drums, layering a bunch of stuff. Like, I've not mentioned this before, but especially for the snare, it's sometimes wise to just double it. Like, use a noise that has more low and one that has more high, kind of like how you would use a clap with like normal production. In this one, I used one particular plugin a lot, which is the OTT, which is just a crazy thing that just, well, it basically boosts, as you can see, I put it on 100%. It basically boosts all frequencies, and you can kind of tell it what frequencies to push forward, and makes it like incredibly aggressive. Definitely helped with what I'm using as the hi-hat. Really aggressive. I also used some of the... This is me scraping the tray. I used that as well. And later on I used me boinking the tray twice, like... And for the melody, I kind of just used the ding again. It's just a faithful piece of sound, but with a shorter attack, which makes it sound a lot more aggressive. And of course the bass, which is just the same bass as the first one. Very aggressive sounding, because I used a amp plugin, or compression, or whatever. Saturation, something like that. The Camel Crusher, again, free. I wouldn't use anything that's not free in a video like this. And that's basically it. Also added like a second verse for this. It's all pretty simple stuff, because I am not like a trap producer, so I don't really know what I'm talking about. So I thought I'd keep it simple, so I won't do anything stupid. This is how it sounds.